Wow, wow, wow. The Marlins head into Milwaukee and effectively end their 2022 season. Absolute scenes from the Fish, taking 3 of 4 games in Milwaukee. The only defeat? Sandy Alcantara, of course. That's the way it goes. That is baseball in a nutshell. We're going to dig into everything that happened in the series, plus the Marlins' social media reaction, which has created a bit of a storm, let's say, on today's Locked On Marlins.
You are Locked On Marlins, your daily podcast on the Miami Marlins, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Greetings from England and welcome to Locked On Marlins. It is your daily Marlins podcast with me, Peter Pratt. Of course, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Miami Marlins _UK. No TikToks, no Instas. If you are listening to the pod, please hit if you get them. Free and available. 5 episodes a week. And this is the final week of the season for the Marlins anyway. The postseason will get rolling, but for the Marlins, this is the final week. However, guys, there's still going to be a daily pod, 5 episodes a week for at least the next month, if not 2. We are going deep into the off season, still with plenty of Marlins content, no doubt about it. There's going to be player reviews, player previews. There's going to be trade talk. There's going to be manager talk. There's going to be everything. We're going to have you covered as we build up to the off season and when things start to get hot and the stove starts to really heat up. So, of course, hit subscribe. I'll have you covered. If you're watching, hello. You are watching on YouTube, hit subscribe there too. Everything is available on YouTube or podcast form, whatever you prefer. Guys, it's the Monday episode. It's a solo pod, firstly. Sean in work, unfortunately. So no Sean Barrett on a Monday, which is wild. My UK GOAT partner in crime. We actually were both at the NFL yesterday in London. We didn't see each other. We were at the complete opposite ends of the stadium from each other. But nevertheless, Sean was there. I was there. A few other guys as well were there that I knew. And what a game, by the way. What a game. A double doinker. Double doinker. Denied for the Saints there on the Lutz. 61-yard field goal to send it to overtime. Stunning game in London. Great to see. Great weather. Great stadium. Long may that continue. Guys, the Marlins, though, I didn't get to watch the game live because I was traveling back yesterday, so I didn't see the Sunday game live. But nevertheless, I saw plenty of all the other games, and the Marlins truly did play spoiler in this one. The Brewers, well in the hunt, well in the mix. Yes, they have been scuttling, it's fair to say. They have not been playing great, neither of the Phils. Both of those two kind of stumbling over the line here, battling with each other, but not really battling. Both of them are jousting with, wooden swords right now, because that's how poor both offenses have been, it seems. And neither of them wants to make the wild card. Nevertheless, the Marlins had a chance to play spoiler, and boy, oh boy, did they do it. 3 out of 4 games for the Marlins. Let's go all the way back to Thursday. Avisail Garcia was added to the roster. He was back. Avi straight into the cleanup spot, and it was not good. Not good until the 8th inning. And then Avi came alive and hit his first career grand slam. First salami ever for Avisail Garcia. It was not good in the field. The other at-bats were not good. Didn't matter. The Marlins stuns the Brewers there. Ex-Brewer Avisail Garcia with a signature moment for the Marlins in 2022. It's funny. The most, I guess, hyped I've heard Paul Severino all year, the 2 times, have been in games where Avisail Garcia has hit home runs in the 8th or 9th inning. So when Avi hits bombs, Sevy, he gets hyped, no doubt about it. So I'm looking forward to Paul Severino in 2023. I can see a huge breakout for him because Avisail Garcia is going to have a huge breakout. It's an odd year. The bat's going to come alive. Just on Avi, the main thing to call out, the weight he's dropped while he's been on the IL and rehabbing and everything. An article, I think, with Christina Di Nicola saying that, he wanted to get the weight off and has dropped like 20 pounds. Great to see. Necessary, because he was bloated and it didn't really impact him in the field. Like in the field, he was completely fine, it seemed. And actually, since he's been back, the fielding in right field has not been good. So that bit of timber has helped him in right field. But he was bloated, he wasn't delivering, and he's gone away and he's worked on his body. Great to see. Great to see that he's taken that ownership. However, you have to look at it on the other side as well, and you have to ask the question, Avi, why did you let yourself get that way? You're a professional athlete with over $50 million committed to you. $50 million for Avisail Garcia committed. And what does he do? He piles it on and plays. He doesn't play very well. Let's just, call it what it is. He hasn't played great. He hasn't. But is that unprofessional from Avisail Garcia? I think it is. To come in that overweight and to only make the change with 6 games to go in the year, 7 games to go. Avi, come on. Come on. You've done yourself no favors this year. Came in, heavy, delivered nothing, didn't change it until 7 games to go. What's happening? And why are the Marlins letting him get away with that? Why have they not been on Avisail Garcia saying, we need you to improve your body? You need to look after yourself. We need the professionalism. Maybe all this players meeting back in the day, maybe the unprofessionalism was pointed at Avisail Garcia for carrying too much timber. I don't know. Maybe there's a correlation with Jesus Aguilar no longer with the club and Noah Repaz knocking around. I don't know. Nevertheless, it's great to see. I want to look at it on the positive side. He's lost the timber. He says he's back. He's feeling good. He's determined to do better. Great to see. However, it's a little bit too late for that. Nevertheless, it was great to see the salami and great to see Avisail back. The pressure on Avisail going in, and if he felt pressure this year, which he says he has, trying to be the guy, the 50 million guy. If he thought there was pressure this year, just wait till next year when you start again and you're coming off an absolutely turgid season. It's going to be even more pressure. The Marlins' expectations, the fan base, listen, there's unrest, it's fair to say. And rightly so, there's unrest. I want to get into that, some of the Marlins Twitter reaction a bit later in the show, because there's certainly unrest. The patience is waning, and the rebuild right now has stalled. Seriously stalled. However, let's continue with this series because, again, it was a positive one. The Marlins, again, Avi's back doing what he's doing. The Marlins and the guys around, particularly the pitching, they just haven't mailed it in here, and they never would. And that's where I wanted to segue into. And I specifically wanted to talk about Sandy Alcantara. What a way to finish his year. Complete game. Yes, it was a complete game for eight innings only and an L. I mean, that is so 2022 Miami Marlins. The fact that the Marlins only lose 1 game in a series, and it's the game when Sandy goes 8 with 1 earned run. I mean, that is the Marlins all over. That has been the blueprint all year. Sandy Alcantara, no run support, no surprises. Nevertheless, another stunner. And he came out. The funny thing was, I was half expecting when he got that first strikeout on the first hitter, which was Christian Yelich, by the way. Nice to see. I was half expecting the Marlins to yank him there and say, that's it. You've had your 200 strikeouts. That's it for you, Sandy. Bring it in, brother. Let's get Tommy Nance out there and let's win this game. But they didn't. They let him roll and actually struck out the next hitter. I think he had an immaculate inning going. I think he was maybe 7 pitches for 7 strikes, including 2 Ks, obviously. Wouldn't that have been a treat for Sandy to have kind of put the exclamation on it with an immaculate inning there? Nevertheless, he went through 8 Ks, I think, in the end on that one. Sandy, the news after the game, which is the fallout from this, is Donnie coming out and saying, that's it for Sandy. He wanted to go. Of course he wants to go. It's Sandy. Sandy wants to go. But 162 is not happening for Sandy. I hope, and this is a bit of a tradition for the Marlins, that they have a specialist, not specialist, the wrong way of phrasing it, but they have a player manager or a special manager for the day. It's going to be Donnie's last ever day as the manager, but nevertheless, there's still going to be an honorary manager. Maybe that's the right phrase. I don't know. Anyway, that should be Sandy Alcantara. If he can't play, he should manage, and he deserves to manage, and he deserves to be given all of the fan adulation, applause, whatever you want to call it. Sandy deserves everything. And maybe that's a nice way for the Marlins to tip their kin to Cy Young right now. It's not even close. It's done. It's been done for a while. Yes, he had a little wobble, but he bounced back from those wobbles and in true Sandy Alcantara style. The interesting bit is when you kind of dig into Sandy's numbers, sometimes you kind of get caught off guard, really, with Sandy. So last year, you look back and he had that 200 innings, 200 Ks, 33 starts, didn't miss any starts, 3.19 ERA. It was a stunning year. He went 205 innings. He's gone one game less this time around. He's had 5 more complete games, and he's pitched 228 innings. He's pitched over 20 innings more than he did last year. That caught me off guard when I looked. 200. He's faced 886 batters. Absolutely insane. 207 Ks, as we mentioned. 50 walks. 50 walks all season. That is stunning from Sandy Alcantara. And he's had that 205 innings. Let's go back to 2019 when he was an all-star as well. 197 innings. Sandy Alcantara is built different. And this year, he's taken another step forward. The amount of innings and workload is just unreal. It's unreal in the modern game. And it was stunning to see how he finishes it on the road against a team that's in the hunt. These are not cupcakes for Sandy. They aren't. And that's the funny thing about the Marlins schedule in September, and obviously as we go into October, a real tough schedule. So all of the hitters that we're going to look at, no cupcakes for them. For the pitchers, it's real. These numbers are real. And we know enough about Sandy. The numbers are real, but it's great to see him put in his exclamation on the Cy Young, the first ever Cy Young, against lineups and teams that are trying to win right now, and they're in the thick of it. And the Brew Crew, absolutely in the thick of it. Nevertheless, they won that game. They won it. Then we get to Pablito, and I want to talk about Pablito after the first ad break, because we should not underestimate, undervalue, and take Pablo Lopez for granted. We shouldn't. We also need to talk about the Marlins social media team after this as well. But I'm delighted to let you guys know that this episode is brought to you by our good friends over at Built Bar. And if you haven't tried Built Bar Puffs yet, you are depriving yourself of one of life's greatest joys. And guess what? There's a new flavor. Yes, sir, new flavor in town. It is delicious, indulgent cookie dough covered in chocolate. That's right. Built has done it again. Once again, another one. Let me introduce you to your new favorite, cookie dough chunk puffs. And they have a light and chewy texture, of course. Real cookie dough chunks, of course. And they're also covered in 100% real chocolate. All the joys of eating cookie dough without the hassle of making it. Plus, it's healthy for you. Cookie dough chunk puffs, they're only 160 calories and have a whopping 15 grams of protein in them. You can get over to built.com to snag a box for you and the family. It will be the perfect treat, or you can find a really good hiding place and just hoard them for yourself. That's probably what I would do. If you're liking what you're hearing, I've got an offer for you. You can get over to built.com, use promo code LOCKEDON15. Reminder of the promo code LOCKEDON15, and it's 15% off your order at built.com. Okay, guys, so Pablo Lopez, final start of the year. There's no more games. That's not a controversial thing. Pablo, there's no more games left. Pablo is done for the year. And I am delighted to say Pablo Lopez, a career year in many ways and in all of the ways. Absolutely love to see it. Let me start with the main one. Games started for Pablo Lopez, 32. 32 starts of Pablito. That is exactly the same of Sandy Alcantara. Innings pitched, 180. 180 innings. That is his best by nearly 70 innings. That is nearly a career best by 70 innings for Pablo Lopez. That has always been the question. Can Pablo stay healthy? Can he stay healthy past the All-Star break? It always feels like gets to the break, something happens, misses the second half. That's been the script for Pablo. Not this time. He's made adjustments heading into the year. He's made tons of adjustments in terms of his delivery, his preparation, the way he looks after himself. He's also ditched the stirrups. I've no idea why, but nevertheless, the results have been fine. When I speak to Pablo next, I hope I do, I'll ask him that direct question. For any of the Marlins media guys that are watching or listening to the show, please ask Pablo what's happened to the stirrups. Why? Interesting. Ronald Acuna Jr. yesterday. No knee-high socks. He's gone with the full pants as well. I don't know what this is. I don't know the trend. Someone needs to tell me. Nevertheless, Pablo Lopez, career year. I need to correct myself on Pablo. I keep making this mistake. I made it at the deadline. I think I made it with Craig Mish the other day. Pablo Lopez, 2 years of control remaining. I thought he only had one. He has 2 arbitration years remaining. So, Pablo, if the Marlins want him, will be around for the next 2 years. And let's not forget, what a stunning trade for Pablo Lopez. People often forget where Pablo came from. It's one of those little hidden sneaky trades. David Phelps with the Mariners. Absolutely stunning thievery from the Fish and the value they've got out of Pablo all along. I'm very intrigued. Clearly, there were talks around Pablo at the deadline. Very, very intrigued to see what the Fish do. Nevertheless, for the Marlins to have gotten 400 or 100 innings out of Sandy and Pablo this year is stunning. Stunning for them too is not normal. And projecting ahead, it's unlikely we get 400 innings out of those two again in 2023. So the Marlins need to plan for that. That's what Craig Mish was saying on the show last week. The Marlins need to have a fallback plan from a pitching perspective. Those two studs, the 1-2 punch, 2 aces, 400 innings between them. Absolutely stunning from the Marlins. Really was. Really was. And I'm delighted for Pablo. I'm delighted for him. I think it's been a great year. And, finishes with a sub-4 ERA. The funny thing is, you take a few of those starts. I mean, you could do this with anyone's numbers, but if you take Pablo's starts against the Mets out of it when he was fully blown up, he'd be close to probably his ERA from last year, which was just a tick over 3. So Pablo Lopez, and let's not forget, was pitcher of the month in April. Great season for Pablo. Length was the main thing. And with that length, there was not a drop-off in terms of the quality, I would say. Very intrigued to see what they do with him in the offseason. Other news. So Avi's back up. Miggy Rowe. It's been announced that Miggy Rowe will have wrist surgery on Wednesday. So Miggy Rowe will miss the final game. Interesting timing. I'm recording this on Monday. It's the Monday episode. And the lineups have been announced. Miggy Rowe is starting at shortstop. Interesting. Don't quite understand why, if he's got surgery planned, why he's still playing and starting at shortstop. In this season, I've no idea why. Case, and he's still playing. Why not let Miggy play the last game and then get the surgery done on the Thursday? That makes no sense to me. It feels, Miggy may well point to this and say, hey, that's why the offense dropped off. I don't know. What's for certain, and we shouldn't take this for granted. And the same with Pablo. We should not take Pablo Lopez for granted. He's been stunning for the Fish this year. And in all of Sandy's excellence, we sometimes forget just how good and reliable Pablo Lopez has been, apart from against the Mets. But for Miggy, we shouldn't take him for granted either in terms of the glove. The glove has been sensational. I hope he wins the Gold Glove. And if we're all honest, he deserves it. Sandy deserves to be the Cy Young, and Miggy Rojas deserves to be the Gold Glove winner at shortstop for the NL. He does. Whether he does, who knows? The Marlins bias, I don't know. Maybe that will be a knock on him, and maybe they'll give it to someone like Dansby Swanson or, one of those dudes, the big name, big profile guys on teams that are winning. Miggy deserves it, though. He has been the best shortstop this year, and I hope he does. Unfortunately, though, for Miggy, the offensive numbers have been the worst of his career. And that's the problem here. The offense for the Marlins has been historically bad, as we've talked about many, many times. And there's just no way of getting around that fact. And Miggy Rojas had a career year in the negative way. Probably so as Avisail Garcia, as did Jesus Aguilar. Everyone having career years, career worst years. Not optimal. I'm very intrigued to see what the plans are for Miggy Rojas. And we have to say, and he's been a massive part of the Marlins, Miggy Rojas, obviously, and he's been here now since 2015. So he's been through it all, Miggy. And as we go into the offseason, we know Donnie's already been out there saying it's time for a new voice. It's the language that was used. The question that I'm asking is it time for a new voice in the clubhouse as well? That's the question. Is it time to consider trading Miggy Rojas, his 2 to 3 WAR Gold Glove defense? People have snapped that up. Teams have snapped that up, no problem. The Marlins will not struggle to find a trading partner for Miggy Rojas. But should they look to do that? To go down and completely create a new voice? If there is to be a new voice managing, do you need to move the El Capitan and truly start again with the culture and the voice? It's a question the Marlins will need to ponder on in the offseason. Let's wrap up with the social media elements from last night. Boy, oh boy. The Marlins, the @Marlins account got themselves into, they were having fun, joking. We're at the end of the year. It's been a tough year for everyone. Listen, I can testify to that. Doing 5 episodes a week covering the Marlins. It's been a grind. The players, it's been a grind. To everyone associated with teams that stink in baseball, it is a grind because there's so many games that are irrelevant that you have to cover. That's the problem. Anyway, the Marlins social guys, what were they doing last night? I mean, I get it. They're having fun. They're joking around. And basically they're saying, and they're having this connection on Twitter with the Phillies, and at the end celebrating the fact that they've helped their division rival out, created some sort of video, beat the Brewers up and handed the postseason spot to the Phillies. The problem with that is the Phillies are in the same division of the Marlins. We are division rivals. We will never ever root for division rivals. We won't. Fans do not root for division rivals. You just don't. Whether it's the Phillies, the Mets, the Braves, the Nats, it does not matter. The Marlins media account, yes, they're having fun with this. I get where they're going. But they're tone deaf to the fans. Completely tone deaf. They don't care about the Marlins fans. I said it earlier on Twitter. It feels like the last week or so, self-sabotage mode. They don't care. They're alienating the fans that remain. Most fans have shut off watching, but at their core, they are still fans. When it comes around to 2023, they will be back and will be watching until they fall into, irrelevancy. So the fans and their core remains, and these tone deaf, they don't help. They don't. They really don't. The fans, I could see the reaction was not good. It's embarrassing to be cheering on a division rival. It's just a no-no. It is a complete no-no for the fans. Shocking scenes. The marketing campaign around the tickets. These tickets, hey, Mets fans, come and cheer on the Marlins to beat the Braves. Then they tweak the message to something else. Now they're going to tweak it back because the Mets have crapped the bed and they've been spanked. Now it's like, hey, Braves fans, come and watch your team secure the what is the marketing messaging going on here? Can the Marlins try to end this year with some dignity, with some class? Instead, they're going down these petty marketing and social media campaigns that just make the Marlins franchise and organization, to be honest with you, look like a joke. Look like they're unserious. I get it. They're trying to have fun with it. I get that. Nevertheless, go and look at what the Giants put out yesterday. A long address to the fans via Twitter. I'll summarize it for you because there's a lot of words in there. Fundamentally saying, fans, thank you. We were crap. We're going to be better next year. Stick with us. We've got you. It's basically the summary. What I'm hearing from the Marlins is not that. It's, can we sell any seat somehow by any marketing campaign to get any opposition fans in the seats and in the stadium? And then can we cheer on anyone to make ourselves seem relevant in a wild card or a division hunt? It seems deaf to the fans. We just want a classy approach and some dignity. I haven't seen that. Nevertheless, that is me done. Solo pod on Monday. I'll leave you with that. Hit me up if you've got any thoughts on this. I'm open to it. I was disgruntled this morning. Very disgruntled looking at the fans and their reaction. And I get it. At the heart of it, they were trying to create some humor, but it's tone deaf, cheering on division rivals and creating marketing campaigns to cheer on division rivals or whatever it might be. Sandy Alcantara cements the side. Pablo Lopez, career year for Pablo Lopez. In innings, for sure. I think there's more to come, and we should absolutely not undervalue Pablo Lopez. Avi Garcia has dropped the weight. His mind, is it right for next year? Why did the Marlins let him go that way? And why did Avisail himself let him go? Nevertheless, we have to look forward with Avisail Garcia. Miggy Rojas, he should win a Gold Glove. He should. I'm not sure he should be playing right now, considering he needs wrist surgery. And the question is if a new voice is required, does that mean Miggy Rojas has to go? Those are the questions that still remain unanswered, but will be dug into all offseason by myself and guests, no doubt about it. But thank you for listening to Locked On Marlins and making Locked On Marlins your first listen of the day. I'm the host, Peter Pratt, and I'll be back tomorrow, Tuesday, with, of course, Tuesday's episode, looking back at Game 1 against the Bravos, in which the Braves, if they win, will for certain seal the NL East. Again, more pain for everyone else. Plenty of celebrations for the Bravos. Back tomorrow, guys.